Yeah, today I want to talk about the different kind of paint from the Games Workshop line, right? The Citadel Paints. They're organized in this, layer base system and shade. And I often get, the questions like, what are bases, or what can I paint with base, or can I use bases for this? So right now we're going to talk about the base paints from Games Workshop. So the base paints is probably the main line that I use, I think, from Games Workshop. They're definitely my favorite. They're essentially what they are made to do. Games Workshop is on this kind of crusade of you never have to really mix color or fidget with the colors. You can use them straight out of the pot, and you never have to mix anything. You can just buy the recipe. If you look at their online thing, they have like these charts of like, you want to paint purple, and they tell you exactly which color make, like the purple with the highlight, the shade, the dry, whatever you want. And so they have this whole like system that's kind of designed for kind of a new user to just go like, I want to do a base coat, so I take a base paint, and then I want to add a layer on top, so I take a layer paint, right? So that's kind of their system, but it's maybe a little bit ill explained, or maybe a little bit too dumbed down, whereas you're left wondering, can I use base paints for something that's not a base coat? So obviously the answer is yes. And that's kind of the premise of this whole thing. So essentially, when it comes maybe down to brass tacks, the base range is usually darker tones of the standard color, right? Like this red is darker than, for example, most of the layer in the red line. That's a layer. This one's the base one, or one of the base ones. So they're mostly darker color, and they also have like a higher, either the pigment is like more concentrated, there's more of it in your pot, or the medium is tinted. That's why sometimes when you let them sit, mine are not really sitting that long, but when you let them sit, they look like they're split. And sometimes they're like red, sometimes they're gray. The medium in there is like tinted, so that's why they're more opaque than the maybe the layers or the regular paints that you would see maybe from other ranges like Army Painter and whatnot. So obviously, like the strength of bases is that they are opaque. So if you're looking for base coat, like you want to get like a solid color, they are usually your best bet. And of course, they're not like created equal. That's true with all the lines, of course. It's not it's not unique to Games Workshop or unique to the baseline. So some of them are really good, some of them are bad, and you can also find this system. Like if you're like an OG in the painting thing, you might remember the white tops before. They used to be called the foundation paints, and that's kind of the predecessor, like the elder base paints. They were called foundation. They were like the greatest color ever, and their secret was that basically they barely passed health and safety regulations. Like for example, the red was like apparently like super toxic, and like you were not supposed to like lick your brush afterwards. They were like just barely into the, I don't know if it's like the FDA or something else, but like they were on the brink. That was the secret of foundation paint, was that make them as illegal as possible. But now they changed to the base range, and so lots of brands have this thing, right? Like Ralpartha and Vallejo also have their own. I think Vallejo is called the heavy, and Ralpartha is called the opaque line, I think, or maybe I got that reversed. But so a lot of companies offer this, whereas you get like darker color that are way better at covering stuff, because like the base coat is an important part of your miniature painting. Or if you have like a clean base coat, everything that follows is going to work smoother. And if you have a shitty base coat, everything that you put on top is going to be spotty. Like you can't polish, like you're building on the foundation. That's why I like the foundation name better. But again, new system, you want to do base coats, you take base paints, right? So there are equivalents in other ranges. I think Games Workshop is the more complete maybe, but because it's so wide compared to, let's say, like the Vallejo that's like 10 colors or something, or even the old foundation that was, I think, 8 or 9. You get some stinkers in there. So a couple of the ones I don't like, for example, a bunch of them are the newer editions, like the Forge World colors that they added in 2023, I think, to the main range. There's like My favorite example is, for example, like Phoenician purple. It's my favorite tone of purple. I think it's the one that looks the coolest, but it's complete trash. It covers nothing, so it's kind of a shame. And then the white is also like complete nonsense. Like I've never bought a pot of Corax white that worked without like some thinning and magic potioning in it. So these are probably the worst of all of them in terms of in the base paints. There's a bunch of the newer Forge World that I haven't tried, like Lupercal and Krieg Drob or something, Nocturne. There's a bunch of the Forge World one. I think they just rebrand them, and every time they were a darker shade, they just assigned them as a base color, and that was kind of their go-to. They didn't really question it. And then a couple of the hits are these ones here. These are the ones I use the most often, I think. So right off the bat, the golds here, Retributor Gold and Runelord Brass, these are probably my two favorites. These are insane. They cover black with one pass. They're amazing, just amazing. And then a Lead Belcher. I don't know why I don't have Lead Belcher here, but Lead Belcher is also a very, very solid. It's a silver, like dark silver. It's probably one of their best. Rhinox Hide, I don't think I've painted a miniature since since 2001 that does not have Rhinox Hide on it. It's just dark brown, covers everything. Rhinox Hide is baller. Same thing for Mephiston Red. Mephiston Red is one of the best reds out there. It covers like nobody's business. It's a bright red. I just love this color. I think it's a great one. I think if you want to paint something red and you're struggling with whatever red you use, this is just a great one. Incubi, I use Incubi Darkness a whole lot. I use it to highlight black. So again, it's not because it's a base paint that it's necessarily for base color. Like I think this for black, all the wires and the vents on Space Marines and whatnot, I use this color. It's like tires. This is just great. Probably one of the ones I use the most, but I almost never use this as an actual base. I use it to highlight my black tones. And then this one as well, Steel Legion Drab, also one of my favorite. It's a like darker bone color. It just covers insanely well. I do a lot of bases with this because it's just a great one. That's why they're here. Oh, also one other thing that I wanted to mention is sometimes the bases are not necessarily darker. It's not like all the dark paints. Like, and my main example is like Doombull. That's a layer paint, but it's like a really dark reddish brown. So it's not because it's a for example, you don't necessarily use to. Just like this one, it's not because it's a base that you have to use it as a base, and it doesn't mean you can't highlight with this, or that you can put this on top of, for example, in this case, using this on top of my Doombull Brown, or even on top of another base, for example, this one on top of the Rhinox Hide, right? So that's another aspect that you can use. And then again, these are just again a couple of my favorites. Not to say that no other line makes a great red or a great gold and stuff, but these ones I think are really, really great. If you're looking to get into it, these are 6 colors that you should definitely try, and you'll get like a good feel or good appreciation for it. So that was a little instructional on what are base paints from Citadel. If you like this kind of video, subscribe for more. We're going to talk about a whole lot more of these paints here.